Afternoon, Luke. Let's talk about Maidstone on Friday. Friday night game under the lights at Meadow Lane. How's preparation going for that one?
Yeah, everyone trained very, very well. So I'm really looking forward to the game. I think it's gonna be a lovely atmosphere with the, like you say, with the lights on. Friday evening is perfect.
A disappointing result in the FA Cup on Saturday. What can you learn from that as a team going forward into the league?
Yeah, it was very disappointing. Credit to the opposition, of course, as well. Some very good performances there. But yeah, disappointing from us, and we need to in this particular game we needed to deal with the transitions much better, much better. We had so much of the ball, and we found ourselves around the box in a fairly good order, but then some very disappointing moments in the transition, and that's really how we managed to lose the game.
Yeah, was it about not sort of making the most of the good situations that you had yourselves in with all that possession in the end?
No, because we scored 2 goals, and it's enough to win a game. It's much more about how we dealt with the transition, because the opponent was the 2 strikers spent the majority of the game midway in their own half, and then 2 banks of 4 very disciplined and organised behind. But still, we managed to, in a very, very crowded box, Sam Austin managed to score from 2 yards out twice.
Yeah.
There's no problem at all. We created enough to win a game of football, because when the team is building up in a manner that someone can tap the ball in from 2 yards, I'm really happy. I'm really happy because you're not relying on somebody to do something incredible, to dribble through everyone, or score an amazing free kick or something like this. It's a team effort to build up like that, but we suffered only because we didn't deal with the moments when the ball turned over and there was transition and a counter attack, and they countered over a long distance. That was the very disappointing thing for me.
Yeah, is that something you've emphasised more in training this week?
Yeah, of course we have to look at the game and the key moments that made us lose the game. And I accept that there was some changes of players. One is making a debut, and some players that weren't on the pitch for a while. But everybody is involved in the body of work all the time, and transition is important for every team, and for us we're no different. We have to. Everybody has to know the detail and the importance of positioning small things, be in the right place at the right time when we're building up. Particularly when you can control the build up in a very calm way, then there's not really a big excuse for being in the wrong position when the ball turns over. So we have to learn from that, and we've looked at that this week.
Yeah. Despite the result on Saturday, you go back into the league campaign, top of the league. Confidence, I'd imagine, will still be high. Has the mood of the training ground lifted even more over the coming weeks?
I think that the performance and the result has served to keep us grounded and sharp in our mind, because we're only top for this moment until there is another round of games, and we have to remain top. So to do that, we have to be sharp, and if a bad result and some performance is not at the level required, if that can become a positive, then we'll take that. Of course, we want to try to win our FA Cup game and progress as far as we can, but we have to try to use it to our advantage if we can, and now we have to try to go into the league and remain top.
Yeah. Going back to the home record at Meadow Lane, it dates back to last season. But what makes Meadow Lane a tough place to go for an opposition, do you feel?
Well, for sure is the people, because they're brilliant, and I always believe that as long as we try to take territory and we try to go and attack the box with good quality and good numbers, then they will be excited and they will get behind us. But it always has to start with us. I know for sure that the opposition will feel on the pitch when we have good momentum and we keep building attacks and go there with a purpose. The opposition, they must be intimidated by the fans, and when you look at that, the cop behind the goal is beautiful when it's with you, and I'm sure it's not. It's the opposite when it's not your people there. So that's what makes it tough, is us and the fans being together to make the place not enjoyable for the opposition.
Yeah, I suppose they sort of go hand in hand, really, when the fans are behind you, as they always are, and ultimately that enhances the performance almost tenfold.
Yeah, 100%. But again, I always repeat the same thing to the players as well. We have to put our hand out first, and then, of course, the fans will join in. But if they don't have the juices flowing, then it's more difficult to be loud and to be like a wall of excitement.
Yeah. Any injury news ahead of Saturday, or have you got a good sized squad to pick from?
Yeah, very healthy squad at the moment. We have one or two just still not quite match fit, of course, and Jim is still is still working away to get back to full training. But we're pretty much there.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Just look at Maidstone. They're having a bit of a tough time in the league. What are you expecting from them on Friday night?
Well, I mean, they'll certainly be up for the challenge, no doubt about that. And they have some very, very interesting players that have real quality, and we have to be aware of that and make sure that we're bright and we're switched on, and that we don't give really good players good opportunities, and they have that. So that's a worry, that concern for us, and we have to be really look at that. And the guys have had a look at a few key things today, and I'm sure, like I say, I'm sure they're going to be up for it and want to come and play here on the same as we do on a Friday night under the lights. But we need to take that sort of away from them.
Yeah. And as well, the fact that they had a bit of a losing streak prior to this one, that seems to have stopped with the 1-1 draw at Halifax. I mean, important for them to stop that rot, and maybe that's something they can build on. Is that something that you've incorporated in the preparation for the weekend?
Yeah, we know that at some point that it's going to change, because they're not such a bad team that they're just going to keep losing all the time, and they'll be working every time they don't win. They will be working on what went wrong and what they need to try to tweak and change. It's too early. It's too early for anybody to be adrift or completely void of all confidence. That's not the case at all. They're going to be working away, and they're going to be a better team than they were last week and the week before, and we're aware of that. Yeah, it's
encouraging to hear. Let's talk about the fact that you're playing on a Friday night. Any advantages to that? I mean, I suppose you could set the standard and put the pressure on the teams that are playing on Saturday with a win, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think that's the obvious thing that sticks out, is that when you play before everybody else, then hopefully a good result, and then the rest have to try to match that. So first of all, we need to just concentrate on making a really good performance and play well. The rest will take care of itself.
Yeah. Any plans for Saturday then? Is it a day off for yourself and the players, or is it a case of scouting some of the games, or is there no respite at all?
No, I think we will try to recover as a group, and some guys will need to train hard to make sure that they keep. If they missed out on a lot of minutes on the pitch, they need to make up for that, so that the whole group try to move in the right direction for the following game.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Appreciate your time, Luke.
You're welcome.
All the best for Friday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ollie? Oh, I think I've gone off. Hold on. There we go. Hi, Luke. Just a couple from me. You've touched on it then about transition being quite disappointing on Saturday. Is there any other thing about the performance, like a particular aspect of that performance, that you were disappointed with as well? There
was one or two times when I felt like we turned the ball over, and I don't think we should turn the ball over, because I think everything was set up correctly for a build-up, and then like a lack of focus or concentration one or two times, and we turned the ball over when we shouldn't, and then it gives you a bad feeling because you lost the ball midway in the opposition half before you had a chance to make a box entry. It gives a bad feeling. It's different, it's different, of course, if you feel like the opponent is really applying really a huge amount of pressure. But I felt like Colville were very organised, but in a position to try to really protect the box. And so I felt like one or two times we shouldn't have lost the ball midway in our build-up. That was disappointing. I think that in the end, particularly the closing stages of the second half, we have some really great actions, balls into the box that we get first contact, ball just wide or too easy for the goalkeeper to save. So yeah, I'm some part disappointed that we didn't finish the actions off. But those things are tough when that you're in there and people are defending against you, and of course you have to make sure you steer the ball beyond the goalkeeper as well. It's a bit more tough, but the transition bit is the bit that hurt me the most.
Speaking after the game, Conor Rawlinson sort of alluded to questioning the mentality of some of the players before the game. Do you agree with what he said?
Well, look, if that's something that came from Conor, then for sure that that's something that he felt and he believes. Sometimes when the players are not feeling very confident, very comfortable, maybe they've been injured or they haven't picked up too many minutes, there can be anxiety there, and the anxiety can often come from like the guys really wanting to do really well and impress, and then they start to build up too much pressure on themselves, and that can manifest and that can make people going more inside. And Conor probably picking up on that type of maybe body language, and now come on, you need to express yourself more and don't be too uptight and worried about making a mistake that you then don't do something positive. Is an easy thing to say, but actually living it is more difficult when you're so determined to do well and you've been waiting for your opportunity, and when it comes, then sometimes, like I say, it has a reverse effect, and you feel too anxious. So possibly, I think some sign of that I saw, from the bench, and I think Conor potentially is, picking up on that. I don't believe that any of the players went there like, oh, okay, it's not a big game, we're not interested. I don't believe that for 1 minute, and I'll be surprised if that's something that Conor felt himself.
And then obviously you spoke about the 8 changes. How good was it to see Joel Taylor back out there? Obviously he's been missing for a large chunk of the season with an injury. So how pleasing was it to finally see him back on the pitch and getting minutes under his belt? Yeah,
I was really pleased that he got back on the pitch, because he'd been working really hard. There was parts of the game that Joel needed to do better, and we've been through that, and that's normal. But it's brilliant to be able to have another option of a good player, great ball he got his assist, and it's a brilliant ball, and that's something that Joel really brings to the team. But there's other bits as well that he needs to keep really focus on, because delivering excellent crosses for Joel is like bread and butter for him. Is simple, but there's other aspects that he needs to try to improve, and he's a great guy, and he's really working hard, so it was excellent to have him back.
And then of those 8 changes, have any of them given you food for thought ahead of Friday night potential starting?
Yeah, I think that on the whole there was a lot of good stuff and some good performances. I think I have a decent grasp of where people are. I think I was very impressed to see Badge play so effectively in 2 positions. I think in the closing stages of the game at left centre half, really driving the team forward to try and make a key, like a key action driving forward. he gave the ball very well to Joel Taylor and gave the ball well to Sam Austin and tried to drive forward and that. So I was impressed with how he played 2 positions in one game so well. Sam,
Perfect.
of course.
Cheers.
Sam, of course, brilliant. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ollie. Yeah,
That's all right. No worries. Cheers, Luke. Thanks for your time.
very welcome. Thank you.
And finally, Sam.
Obviously, I'll start with the defeat and how has that affected the mood of the lads in training, and how do you try and shift that to get back onto the right tracks for Friday?
Well, first of all, we need to kind of, mourn the loss and be everyone very, very disappointed. But then it's important that we try to put context to the defeat and say to the group, like, it's not like the entire performance was terrible and everyone should be ashamed of themselves and so on. No, disappointed, and 1 or 2 things that are unacceptable for us, and we let ourselves down, and everybody then draw a line under that, because we now need to focus and prepare for another game. It's no good to dwell on it too long. It's no good to pretend it didn't happen. We have to manage the transition of mourning over the defeat, analyse the things that are very key that we can take forward, and then we have to be positive and optimistic for the next game.
Yeah, and then we've touched on it already as well. Maidstone are obviously a lot further down the league. They're struggling to get points, and do you think that could play against you? The fact that they will want the points so much more, and perhaps you could take that for granted, their poor form.
I don't think we'll take for granted. I'll be very, very disappointed if anybody is in there taking for granted the position we're in, the position they're in. I think that many of the guys have been in the National League already, and I understand that it's not uncommon for teams lower down to beat teams higher up. It's a lot of crazy results all the time. So if people are relaxed about it or taking it for granted, then there's a big problem. I don't believe that will happen. I don't think anyone wants the points more than we do. I'm sure they want the points, of course. If anyone wants them more than we do, I'm very, very disappointed and have to really look hard at what we're doing. So I think that they're going to come here and try to win the game and have a real go. I've got no doubt, but we will be definitely trying to win the game and take the points as well.
And then again, we've touched on it slightly already, but how big a part the fans play, and obviously it being a Friday night, how big a part will they play in the game? Yeah,
the biggest, and we lived through the lockdown, and played games with no spectators when I was working at MK, and it's just not the same at all. And when if we get going and we feel the support, it's just the best. It's the best feeling you can. It makes you feel alive. It's brilliant. And then nothing is better than to win at home and see everybody happy at the end. Nothing can match that. That's the truth, and I'm sure people will tell you the same if they. So I hope we have plenty of people can make the game, and I hope that the guys can give them the correct performance that they deserve, and then we can celebrate together. That's what I'm focused on.
And finally, just quickly, Macaulay's obviously gotten a lot of press nationally this week, deservedly. Does that worry you at all? The attention that he's getting?
No, it's only going to be a worry if I see Macaulay change. He's perfect at how he is. If I see his personality is changing, his attitude towards his work changes, his attitude towards his teammates and the staff changes, then I'll be very, very concerned. I'll be very worried. And at the moment, I'm not seeing any of those behaviours. I'm seeing a really top guy, the same one, at pre-season before everything began. I'm seeing the same one in training. I'm seeing the same guy with the teammates in exactly the same way. I think the other week the guy behind the camera here made a brilliant when he filmed Macca You know, and again, Macca had no idea he's going to be presented the award, so he's sitting there, and anything you watch in this video is completely natural. But you see, on that video is the best way to show how Macca is, because he's sitting there not thinking anything. He's not got that personality where this is definitely going to be about me. And then you can see how he's very modest when he gets presented with the thing, and that is him. If I see that change, then okay, he's going to be in my office and have a conversation. But I'm really pleased, because we're not seeing that. Just wants to play football and score goals for sure, and be part of the team.